Good morning. My name is Lisa Deisel. I'm from the UNISA Directorate for Counselling and Career Development. This morning, we thought we will just share with you some thoughts about exam anxiety. As we are all well aware, the exams are currently underway, and we thought that we could just help you to understand what exam anxiety is and some of the strategies we can use to manage exam anxiety. With me, I've got my colleague, Dr. Chipiwa Korisang. Welcome, Chipiwa.
Good morning, Lisa, and good morning to the students as they are busy with their exams. This morning, as Lisa said earlier, we just want to talk about exam anxiety. Maybe part of that is just to normalize what you are experiencing as you are writing your exams, because all of us writing exams, we are experiencing anxiety. The severity of the anxiety we experience or the symptoms or the signs might be different. That's why we are also going to talk about the signs of anxiety and also how to deal with anxiety. It is important that we start by normalizing that anxiety is a common experience among students. I always say to people, in actual fact, when you are doing something that is very important for you, you always experience anxiety. That's why in this section, we're going to talk about what is it that is exam anxiety and why is it important to understand this exam anxiety. So as I said, anxiety is a feeling of nervousness, fear, and apprehension that one experiences before, during, or after taking an exam. And I would want to add that in any situation where one feels evaluated in a task that is very important to you, you will also experience this feeling of nervousness. For example, if you are being evaluated for a driver's license or being evaluated for the fitness of a job, you will also experience anxiety. Exam anxiety can also have a significant impact on academic performance, sometimes leading to poor academic performance, reduced confidence, and lower self-esteem. When you are anxious, you are not sure about yourself, and that could also affect your productivity, even your memory, and as well as your thinking. It is essential to address exam anxiety and learn coping strategies to manage it effectively. In other words, as I have said, that exam anxiety is part of exam process. We just need to learn how to embrace the exam anxiety in a way that it's not debilitating to ourselves and it does not negatively affect our performance. I have been saying earlier on that anxiety is normal until it cannot be controlled. So we all experience some form of anxiety. The challenge is when we feel overwhelmed by the anxiety. That's when we need to seek support, and that's why we are talking about that. So part of this is to understand you don't need to worry that you are anxious, but you could be worried if the anxiety is uncontrollable, that it affects other areas of your life or it affects the performance of your task that you need to complete. Different people can experience anxiety in different ways during an exam and because of different reasons. Some people feel anxious and they are not even aware, or they've got certain symptoms or signs that they don't understand that it's because they are feeling anxious. It is normal to feel anxious during an exam. However, you need to identify if the feeling is out of the normal state. How does the anxiety impact on your performance while you are preparing for exam, while you are writing exam or after exam? Because some people, they can carry anxiety from the exam to after exam to the extent that they do not cope. Let's take a moment to reflect. Think of your first exams at UNISA. What happened? How did you feel before, during, and after your exam? If this is your first exam at UNISA, you could also think about your experience of your first assignment at UNISA when you were submitting this very first assignment. What happened? How did you feel before, during, and after that assignment? Because, of course, some people do not only experience anxiety during exams, they also experience anxiety as they are busy with their assignment. You could also think about any other event where you were being evaluated. It could be a job interview. It could be any other circumstances. Maybe you were being auditioned for a choir, or you were being auditioned for something else, or being evaluated. Think about how did you feel before, during, and after that task. Let's now talk about causes of exam anxiety. There are so many factors that contribute to your level of exam anxiety. And I think one of the most important one is that the studies is very important for you. So you could not afford to fail yourself or fail other people. Some of us, we know there is high expectation from ourselves or others. Maybe you are the first person to go to university. Maybe you know the sacrifices that other people are making for you to get this degree. Maybe this degree is very important to redefine all your life experiences, your position in society, in other relationships, or even overcoming trauma. So there is a lot of expectation that you have for yourself that this degree will help you to overcome or others. Sometimes we are highly anxious because we did not prepare well. We are worried about how we prepared for this task. Sometimes it's not because of the exam that is stressing you. You are also experiencing other personal or external stressors. I mean, I have got high empathy to all UNISA students writing exams, being in South Africa with the load shedding, because all of us, we are highly stressed about the load shedding. When will the stage change? What will happen? How many hours? Sometimes we are being told you will be load shed for 4 hours. After that, there are other technical problems that also impact on this load shedding. So that's the reality we are being confronted with, which impact on your anxiety or elevate even the experiences of the exam anxiety. The other reason is that students who fear failing an exam may worry about the consequences, such as disappointment from family or negative judgments from peers. I must emphasize it's not only people who fear failing exams, but people who worry about failure and they do not know how to embrace failure and disappointments. The other thing is high expectations from self or others that can create pressure to perform well, leading to anxiety. You also worry that I just don't want to pass with 60, I must get a distinction, which put a lot of pressure in yourself. If a student feels unprepared for an exam, they may become anxious about their ability to answer questions correctly. Personal or external stressors such as relationship problems, financial issues, or health concerns can also contribute to exam anxiety. And I've also added things like load shedding impact on us as well. How do you know when anxiety is not normal? Maybe we could even reframe to say, how do I know when anxiety is overwhelming me? Because we say the anxiety is normal, but when it becomes overwhelming, we know that it has impact, it's negative. Because we also talk about performance anxiety, which as you are anxious, you then perform better. Signs of anxiety, physical signs. You start sweating. Some people, when they are sweating, they even feel like they are thirsty, they need water. Even their mouth becomes dry. They could be shaking, where you feel your whole body is shaking, your legs are shaking, or your hands is shaking. Headaches or muscle pains, nausea or stomach problems, overeating or lack of appetite, and rapid heartbeat. Some people will report that I feel as if my heart will stop. Emotional signs, feeling depressed. And when a person is feeling depressed, they can't wake up, they don't want to do anything, they just want to sleep and they don't have energy. Feeling of panic, where you are just worried. You know, some people, when they are feeling this panic, they feel even unsafe. They feel as if they will be attacked or something bad is going to happen. They lack confidence, you are just worried. It can even extend that during the exam, you start questioning whether you have chosen the right course, you have chosen the right institution, are you cut out for university or you shouldn't study. You also have feelings of pessimism and hopelessness. Maybe I will not get this degree, even getting worried that you might not even get a job, and you just worry. You also feel inadequate with the negative thoughts, and you just question everything you do. Negative self-talk. You could have difficulty concentrating and feelings of panic. You are just overall not relaxed. You are not yourself. You feel you are also like floating, but you are not in control. It's difficult to feel grounded when you are anxious. There are also behavioral signs where you keep on procrastinating. You will say, let me rather study later. Maybe let me sleep a little bit. Maybe let me do something else, because you are struggling, especially to just sit down and study, because it's very overwhelming. You are confronted with a lot of discomfort and fear of failure that makes it very difficult for you to confront. You will find yourself avoiding sitting down and study, even though you know you are supposed to prepare for your exams. There is also self-sabotage. It's very interesting. Part of self-sabotage is that even when you are studying and you understand this thing, your thoughts tells you, no, you can't understand this, you give up easily. When this happens, when you are writing exam, you will write the correct answer, you will cancel due to self-doubt, and then you write something that is wrong. Signs of anxiety before the exam. Insomnia, you won't sleep, you struggle to sleep, or you sleep and wake up. You have got decreased or increased appetite. You have got inability to concentrate, lack of interest, and boredom. During the exams, you get confused. Some people say, I even feel like I had a blackout. I couldn't think, I couldn't have anything, which is also part of what people say mental block. You start panicking. Part of panicking is where some people start crying. You just feel like, I want to cry, because you are overwhelmed. You feel guilty and blame yourself. Maybe the blame will be, I didn't spend enough time with my studies, or I have made a mistake. I shouldn't have chosen UNISA or even chosen the qualification that I'm studying. You could also become very angry, either towards yourself or towards others at that time of the exam, and that also affects you because your focus then moves from exams to these feelings, and you can't concentrate and you can't even think about what you need to write. The other important part is depression. You can see how some of the signs are similar before exams, during exams. Some people will experience some signs before exams, and during exams, it could become worse or get exacerbated. Impact of anxiety, as we said, when we are talking about anxiety that is abnormal, that is ineffective, that paralyzes you and also can become debilitating, then we are not talking about what we would say normal performance anxiety. The impact then, you could have poor performance because you take longer even to remember the things you know, because there is a mind block. And the reason on a neurological basis why that happened is because your mind now, or your brain, is overwhelmed. Instead of your brain to start remembering what you have studied, or for you to start having critical conversation or to focus on the studies, there is a block. The anxiety makes it very difficult for you to remember what you have studied, and then you can't perform well. You may not be able to reach your full potential due to what I've just explained, that neurologically now you are not able to show your full potential because of the anxiety. You may be forgetful or get confused at some point, and you might find it hard to concentrate. You may also get a mental block. So a mental block in a simple process is that your brain cannot access the information you need at that particular time. It's like there is a roadblock. The worry and anxiety and the thoughts and the negative talk that you are giving to yourself creates a roadblock for your brain to access certain parts of your brain that have got very important information for your exams. We need to take some time on how do you normally deal with anxiety. So let's reflect on this. And why this is important for me is that sometimes how we deal with anxiety in our day-to-day life, it's the same way we deal with anxiety during exams. If we can shift or we become aware on what we do to ourselves, it could really help us. So it's not about only during exams, but maybe this is how you generally respond to anxiety. How to deal with anxiety. So we are trying here to help you to think about certain things that can help you, that you overcome or you manage or you minimize the impact of anxiety on your exams or in any other aspects of your life. Positive thinking. So positive thinking is just also to think, I have been completing my assignment, I have studied, can I just sit down and reread the question and understand what I need to do? Can I move to the next question so that I can focus on that since the next question seems to be easier? I haven't started with the exams yet. Can I just sit and try and study and prepare so that by the time I approach the exams, I am able to cope? It's also important that you eat well, relax, normal sleep, breathing techniques, and exercise. So anxiety is not only affecting our thinking, but it also affects our physical. For us to perform better and also to manage anxiety, we also need to take care of our body. You need sugar, balanced sugar, don't eat junk, especially during your exam. Also introduce something like breathing techniques, just sitting and ensuring that you focus on how you breathe in and out, and exercise. We are not saying you must now start running 10Ks and your body becomes sore. Just take a moment to go out of your yard and walk. That has got a huge impact on your brain and also releasing anxiety and the tension you feel in your body. I must just talk a little bit more about walking and taking time just to walk, but being very aware. Don't walk while you are in Instagram or talking to other people. Just leave your cell phone, leave everything that could distract you where you walk and you are very aware of your surrounding, whether it's the air on you are breathing or just the sensation in your body, because that also helps you to release the tension and normalizes the anxiety. In some other research of people who are neuropsychological based, they recommend exercise has got same impact like some of the medications we take to release anxiety. So it's very important that we adopt or we include exercises, just walking during the exams to manage anxiety. It's also important to identify what is it that makes you most anxious as you have to sit and write your exam. Another thing, it's important to think of the last time you wrote an examination and how you felt your anxiety level is not normal. Reflect on what happened and why you were that anxious. It's also important to think about what is it that you did during that last time and how did that help you. Even if you can look at other circumstances in your life where you were very anxious, but you did something that could help you with that level of anxiety. How to deal with anxiety specifically before an exam. Study effectively. practice relaxation techniques, and get enough sleep. I must also warn you now, before exams, there are a lot of communications going on. Some of them are from unofficial sources that can also impact on your exams preparation. Can you just focus on the information from your lecture, tutorial letter 101, looking at also your study guide, the outcomes? That could also help you to focus on your studies, and that it could also minimize the anxiety. Don't also introduce new study techniques now during exams that you know it has never been your style. You are not familiar with the study techniques, because that could also overwhelm you. How to deal with anxiety during the exam. Use deep breathing exercises. We have got a lot of resources also on breathing exercises on YouTube, also on our website. Positive self-talk. I want to emphasize, when you do positive self-talk, also focus on very practical things that you can control. Yes, question 1, I don't understand it, but I think for now, question 2 seems to be much easier. I'm going to focus on question 2 for now, answer that so that I can come back to question 1. Be realistic, be practical, and focus on the here and now. Also, just telling yourself, at least there are certain things for now, they are vague, but there are things I can remember. Let me start by answering those things I can remember. Visualization exercises to calm your nerves and stay focused. Just during the exam, just have visualization exercises. Also, think about what works for you. We are recommending this, but if breathing helps for you, then focus on breathing. How to deal with anxiety after the exam. Reflect on your exams and think what you can do differently. Seek support if necessary. Other strategies might include time management, avoiding caffeine and sugar, or engaging in physical exercises. It's very important to reflect after each and every exam. Part of that is that you have got closure for that particular exam that you wrote, and you don't transfer the anxiety from one examination to the other, which could affect the performance in all your courses. So reflect after each of the exam. Also think about, what is it that I can take from this exam to my next exam, what I've learned, what I need to leave behind, what I need to focus on.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kuri-san. I've also heard a lot about the importance of mindfulness and how useful it might be in these situations where we feel highly anxious. Could you maybe talk a bit more about that?
Thank you, Lisa. It's very important that you have reflected or raised the issue of mindfulness. Now, even when you are asking mindfulness, I'm sort of repeating it slowly in my brain. And when I break down this mindfulness, it say mindfulness. So to me, in a very simple way, it's being very mindful. It's being present where you are. So when you are writing exam, it's very important that you remind yourself, where am I now? And focus on that present moment. There are a number of ways to do that. One of the things is that when you are writing exams, make sure that you also remove maybe other cluster or clutter that can distract you. Think about one thing that you could put in front of you to help you focus on what you are doing at that particular moment. It could be a watch where you are like, I'm sitting now writing my exams. Can I just focus on the watch and my exams? It could be you put something that you smell. Again, it relates to also breathing exercises when you are walking. That could really help you to focus on what you are doing at that particular moment. So the trick about mindfulness is creating a space and also being very intentional to say, where am I now? What am I doing at the moment? Can I really remind myself and make sure that my mind is full of the present state? The present state is the task that I'm involved in, because that really helps you to relax and to manage the anxiety and also to minimize the distractions. You must not start thinking about cooking. What will I eat after this? You need to focus. I'm busy writing exams. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Dr. Korisang. I thought it would also be important for us to remind you about the step-by-step guide that's available on My UNISA. There is a lot of important information on this webpage that you can find. Just some tips on how to prepare for the online exams, what are the things that you need to check, or the things that you need to test before the examinations. And then there are also online tutorials or workshops that you can attend that really focuses on the technology and how proficient you need to be with the technology when you are doing the online exams. So from our side, sorry?
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for including the step-by-step guide. It's very important that we are prepared also on a practical level on what is expected, because if you don't understand the requirements and what is expected, that could also exacerbate your anxiety. All the best with your exams. Thank you.
Thank you very much for making the time to join us this morning, and thank you to Dr. Korisang who shared those important understanding about anxiety and how we can manage it more effectively. If at any time you feel that you would want to have further conversations with us, you are welcome to send an email to counselling@unisa.ac.za. It may also be that you would want to make an online appointment with a counsellor. There's a link on the screen that you can use to do so. We also have counsellors available at many of the UNISA regional offices, and you're welcome to use that link on the screen to help you find information about the counsellor that is closest to you. On our website at www.unisa.ac.za/counselling, we've got a lot of information available to further help you with your study skills and specifically exam preparation, as well as what Dr. Korisang mentioned, reflecting on your exams. Then on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/UNISA Careers, we also publish these recordings of the sessions, this one included. So please make some time to go and look at the other recordings that we've also published there. So again, from my side, thank you very much. And thank you to my colleague, Dr. Korisang. We wish you all the best with your exams.